Okay, yeah, let's just, because, I was just one, animation thing, elf do magic. Cool. Yeah, let's that. Welcome along okay. Welcome to an anime, uh, welcome to a reaction to an episode of the Frieren anime. Let's call it that. Let's make that the intro. Uh, we're going to react to the episode. If you haven't been along to one of these before, why are you starting at episode 11? First of all. Second of all, the way that these work is I'm actually not going to play you very much footage of Frieren on screen. So if you want to see what I'm reacting to, you're going to have your own copy of the episode open from completely, entirely 100% legal and legitimate sources only, of course. Up in the top left corner, you'll see a timer telling you where we are, and up the little sort of vague black bar that's next to it, that will show you the subtitles of whatever I happen to be looking at the time. And you will use that to sort of keep in sync with me and look at the same thing that I'm looking at. And I will give you cues. I will say 3, 2, 1, play when we start playing the episode together, all the way back from second 0. And every once in a while, I'll have more to say that I can get across while the action is happening, and I'll say 3, 2, 1, pause. And we will pause together, and then once I'm done saying whatever thing it was that I wanted to say, I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, or 3, 2, 1, unpause, something like that, and then we'll continue together. And in that way, we shall stay in sync with one another, synchronized, as we watch episodes of this anime. That's the way it works, that's the way it has been working, and it gives me the least amount of editing work to do, generally. So that's the way I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I think that's about all the explanation you need, so 3, 2, 1, go. Demon is dead, the sun comes up. Classic. The scales lie abandoned in the dirt. Should probably take those scales and get rid of them. Oh, I see. Angelic choir music. Paying respects to the dead. That doesn't seem like something Frieren would necessarily do without some prompting from human beings who are maybe a little bit more spiritually inclined than Flamme. Since we're getting towards episode 12, 13, we'll probably be heading into the next season soon, right? Depending on how seasonal, like, I didn't really follow the publication history of Frieren. Like, was it published in sort of typical anime seasons, which means we're going to get a new opening and ending? Or the mimic joke is still funny. As someone who has a bit of a thing for falling for mimics myself. Because on the one hand, the opening here is teasing characters and things that haven't been shown in the anime yet. So that sort of feels like maybe it's going to stick around, but be nice to have a new one too. I like this one, but, Madhouse do a good opening. Stark is covered in blood. God, again, the painting. Oh. Yeah. Beautiful music, this. I like the detail that each of them were wearing, like, pendants that sort of identify which house they were from. Or which family. Like, that, just as a little unremarked upon incidental world building detail, that's really good. That's a pretty big ask. Ah. Maybe some food also? New clothes for Stark? Okay, that's very funny. Oh, that's okay. Hang on. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Really? You're gonna? Oh my god. Okay. Right. So, haha. Funny joke. Stark's passed out. We need to, like, Fern is gonna lift him with magic and get him out of there. This shot? This fucking angle? Really? Like that? You're gonna do it? Come on. That is, again, it's that thing about like doing things that are unnecessarily complicated just to fucking flex and show off, because that's a fairly complicated, like, you can see the thing with like this slightly awkward foreshadowing on the leg here, right, where it almost looks like he has a giant foot attached to his ass, right? Because of the, like, you understand it because of the foreshortening, and the motion, right? Like that's what's happening. But like, and then rotating him in space and then doing like this slightly distorted fucking thing of Fern from below pushing this. Come on. Like, that's such an extra fucking way to do it. It looks good. Like, it underscores the comedic vibe of the thing because it allows us to see Stark's expression as he's being lifted bodily up into the air. Like, it makes sense from a directorial perspective, right? But come on, like, that's such an extra complicated way to do it. You could do that with a straight on like a middle shot like that. Okay. Ah, man, this fucking anime sometimes. 3, 2, 1, go. Time to run. Frieren is going to run away from a celebration. Oh, poor Stark. Oh no, she's going to stay. Okay. I figured because of the thing that that Flamme said about not making your mark in history. Ooh, montage time. The axe again. Very good. I do think this montage is probably cutting a little too slowly. The images get to feel a little too static. Usually when you have like a montage of static images, you want to go at a decent clip across them. Okay, that was a great fucking song. I need to find that. I like the detail that they're back at that same corner. That's like a nice continuity. And Stark did get a new jacket. How did he hear that? Oh, is that what we're doing? Oh, come the fuck on. 3, 2, 1, pause. Show-offs. Show-offs. You see this shot? It opens doing it the normal way, right? Doing the normal way, like where we have like the foreground wall is like fading out of frame to the left, slightly slower, and then like you have this contrasting movement where the wall and the hero's moving to the right, so to indicate the rotation, right? And for the most part, the knight's armor is like he just kind of slides to the right, right? There's no change in him. And that's the normal way to do it, is you have the background and the foreground moving relative to each other to sort of indicate the movement of the scene, but like the object itself is just rendered statically, and that's fine. Like you get the point, so long as it doesn't go too far in the rotation, you get the point. And you're going to cut away from this in like 1 second at most anyway. So like it doesn't matter. You don't need to do anything fancy here. It's like it's a completely like pedestrian sort of tracking shot that's just happening while characters are doing some dialogue about some other stuff. It doesn't matter. But then, oh, would you look at that? Some motherfucker decided, no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hand animate a fucking complicated knight armor rotating in 3D. Sure, That's what I'm gonna fucking do. I'm just gonna hand animate that shit, and you can tell it's hand animated because you can see the wobble on the lines, and that doesn't look like it's fucking shader generated. That maybe I hope to God whoever did that by rotoscoping over a 3D model of this thing, but hand animating something that complicated, turning in 3D space, just for a shot like this? Why would you do that? Why would you do something so profoundly extra for this shot? That's insane. That's a waste of resources. Like, I'm not saying this is a criticism, by the way. I'm delighted by it, but it's like, you must have had an extra weekend. Like, you must have like I don't have any plans this weekend. I'm gonna stay overtime and like, or the other thing is, it could also be the sign of a production that has an unusually good and efficient production, right? Like, that has an unusually good and efficient scheduling that is making enough time for animators to take a shot like this and add some extra sauce to it, even though it's not necessary. Like, because the production is well paced, the production is well structured, they have enough people what they're doing, those people have enough time to finish their work without having to crunch and do overtime, so you don't have to cut corners, right? I would like to believe that, like, the state of the animation industry in Japan, and including at Madhouse, is bad, real bad. Like, just, oh boy, it is no bueno. Like, the sheer amount of overtime, the sheer amount of crunch, the sheer amount of burnout, the sheer amount of work-related injuries, that people in the animation industry get, like, just repetitive strain injuries. They get like damage to their spine, damage to to all kinds of things, for fuck all for pay, right? Like, and fuck all for benefits. And Japan is not a country that's friendly to unionization. They've been ruled by the LDP. I think that's the acronym, right? Which is a center-right, like center-right and far-right sort of juggernaut of political power, backed, like, that was initially backed by the US and propped up as a way to prevent, like, the rise of the Japanese left and like communism in Japan, which has a long history. Like the socialism and the left has a long history in Japan, but it has a long history primarily of being crushed by the interests of capital, especially propped up by like rapid American led hyper industrialization of the country following World War II. And like, it's an effect of the Cold War, right? And one of the many ways that manifests in Japanese society today is in their work culture, in the chronic amounts of just truly insane overwork that are just normal in Japanese business. And the amount of burnout and the amount of abuse, like the whole concept of a black company, right? Like, it's like, that's why there's a whole fucking genre of anime that's just person who has worked themselves to death is reincarnated in a world where they can just like have a normal work-life balance. Like, that's a whole fucking genre of anime. That's why there was that one with the sort of slightly concerning one with the guy who like has a fox girl who lives in his house, and the whole thing is just about her, like, when he comes home from work and he's completely fucking exhausted, she just kind of takes care of him and pampers him and like sort of helps him feel better. Like, the whole anime just about that. It's because of these things, right? So when I see something like this, on the one hand, I'm delighted. On the other hand, I just can't help but think, like, did some motherfucker have to crunch for this? Like, did some fucking underpaid, ambitious, talented artist who doesn't get enough days off and who doesn't get like enough help with their like mounting RSI in their right arm, like, crunch overtime for this? Or was this something that was done because they went, hey, we've got some extra time, why not? I don't know. And it's one of the things that really does sort of, it does put a damper on my enjoyment of like all anime. Like, every time I sort of think about like what are the working conditions for the people who did this, is like, but props to the animator who did that. Even rotoscoping it, that's a fucking difficult thing to animate, sort of rotating in 3D space like that. Good job. I salute your efforts, and I hope you get better working conditions than you have as soon as humanly possible. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Also, the person planting in that shot is like really nicely done. No, I have to talk about it. 3, 2, 1, pause. Right, so we've had our first conflict. I was wondering in the previous episode, right, like what's the next conflict now that we've proven that Frieren is as overpowered as an isekai protagonist? Like what is the next thing? Well, obviously, you have to get that power up against a bureaucracy, right? Like, which is the thing that she can't just power her way through. She can't just superpower her way through it. A bureaucracy is like if you piss off the examiner, well, there goes your license, right? Like where she has to be polite and she has to be sort of condescended to by people, sort of like people who know less than her and who have less competence than her, like deigning to determine whether or not she's a powerful mage. That is fun. That should lead to some funny situations. But anyway, the thing I want to talk about, the sower in the background in this particular shot here is like... Right, so again, the simple way to do that is they put their hand down the front of their thing, they take the seeds and they throw it. They put the hand down, like just like a like 8-frame animation loop or whatever, where it's just they put down, take the seed, put down, like easy way to do it. No problem. This is just a foreground NPC. They barely have a face. They're not supposed to be anything. Nothing's supposed to be happening here. And that's my assumption is like that's what they would do with them. But they throw, then they take a step. And then the throw animation, the second throw animation is not just a repeat of the first. It's not just copy pasted as far as I can tell. It's they take a slightly different pacing. They conduct the second throw. I think slightly differently than the first one. Or is it the same? Like, that would be the sensible... I think it might be slightly custom. But like, just like that little thing of like, they take a step to the right because they have already thrown the seeds there. So like, step... Again, that's extra. That's doing more. And it's like, nice. I like that. Anyway, sorry. That's all I wanted to comment on. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful birds too. 3, 2, 1, go. Sorry about that. I shouldn't interrupt the countdown. Aushest. Aushest? How would you say it with the umlaut? Because it wouldn't be Aushest, would it? One thing about the character design of the Grat, like with the open coat and the open shirt and stuff like that, he seems a little loose, right? Like he seems a little casual, which is good. Like that makes him less alienating. This is true. Cold and disease are the biggest winners in every war. Immediately lost. I would seek some fucking shelter, first of all. Like, build a snow hutch or whatever you need to do. I mean, in the middle of a blizzard, I would hunker down. Like, I would hunker down, build up some kind of hutch out of the snow. Aw. No, my cats are fighting. Oh, hey, it's the guy from the intro. And it's an elf. Aw, Fern, are you very uncomfortable? Understandable, but also he's just shirtless. Oh, so he was. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. So, coals, that's interesting. Because that used to be the thing. For like sort of before like the invention of matches, before the invention of like portable fire starters, one of the ways that you would carry fire with you from place to place is like you would literally just carry burning coals. Like they were smoldering, like really, really fucking hot, smoldering coals. That would be able to like to smolder for days and days and days and keep a flame. And like you would replenish them obviously as you traveled. But that was one of the ways that you used to carry fire with you on a long travel, which is interesting. Like that's very interesting that that's here. I need to go deal with my cats. Sorry. Apollo's in a mood. Sounds like he was chasing his sister. 3, 2, 1, go. With Eisen there. Being one of his happiest memories, yeah. Hey! Again, very good way to warm up a body. 2. Sorry, I shouldn't do countdowns. I'm just counting down until the joke happens. With his body heat. Ding dong. Oh. Eyebrows raised. Yeah, sure. Fuck me. 3, 2, 1, pause. God damn it, these fucking people. What is it with them and jackets in particular? Like, it's not quite to the level of extra as the Start jacket thing, but that is like the way that animation engages with the physicality of the jacket, right? Like with the like, hey, with like the drop and the weight of the fabric, like the way he's keeping it off his ears, right? Like he's pushing his arm out, like, and you can see the way that like his arm being pushed in, like with the elbow up here and then the arm down through, and like it's like like completely handling the, and even like the foreshortening on the fucking sleeve as like we go into the frame, and like, damn, that's a good ass putting on a jacket animation. I like that. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. So is he like a monk in the D&D sense? Oh, Fern. Frieren steals the blanket. I like that though. Like I mean that we're elves, right? Like, so there must have been a before the before, and a before the before the before, and a before that too, right? That was a pretty decent time skip montage. Well, she would be. 3, 2, 1, pause. My cat is doing a meow, meow, which usually indicates that he's thrown something on the floor and he wants me to pick it up. Or not. Or he was just moaning for attention, as he does. He doesn't like it that I close my office door in order to record these things, so sometimes he gets a little mopey. 3, 2, 1, go. Frieren is young? I like the framing of divinity as something like people need, right? The existence of the divine, rather than something that's ordained by a book, for example. Really good animation on those kids. Is he saying he's like got like illegitimate children everywhere? Come on, give us the backstory drop. God, that fucking background. Jesus. 3, 2, 1. Why is he not taking his wagon? Okay, well, whatever. God, that's pretty. Look at that. Like the flow of the landscape into the... Fuck me, that looks nice. Come on. God damn. That is beautiful. Because it's not just that it's like a well-rendered landscape, it's the flow of it. The way that it all seems to sort of slant and slide in this one direction, like that sort of supports the direction that he's going, but also like indicates that like the landscape is rising and that things are getting tougher because we got mountains over here, right? Like, that's really pretty. And like the one where he's walking away here as well, like it's not quite as nice. Like, I don't get the same sense of scale. That's the other thing about that background is like, what a sense of scale it has. Like a real sense of placement in the world. It's a really nice background. Okay, anyway, sorry. 3, 2, 1, go. No, yes. No, fuck. Sorry. At the last second, I was like, no, wait, I wanted to talk about another thing. Apologies. I know I know it's very frustrating when I fuck up the countdown. The thing about faith, like, certainly this seems to be on the show and the story's mind, is this thing about, like, what is faith and what's the purpose of it, right? And what is it for? And it's interesting that we have this, like, for the most part, sort of patterned after fantasy medieval Europe-esque thing, although Stark's coat is looking more modern by the day, where, like, which, like, a lot of the shit is patterned after, like styles of architecture and styles of city building, even, that, like, are sort of predicated on the existence of Christianity. Like a lot of the ways that even cities and towns were built in Europe for 1,000 years, like, was predicated on, like, the presence and the behavior of the church, of the clergy. Like if a monastery springs up, a village would probably follow a lot of times, right? If a town comes in, then a church follows, and then the whole town reorients itself to be centered around. Like, a lot of the things we sort of associate with it's all sort of stuff that comes from the history with Christianity as, like, a central thing in people's lives. So it's interesting that, like, here we also seem to have a monotheistic religion, with priests and monks who dress very much in, like, Christian coded outfits, right? Like it's all very sort of Christianity coded, but it has a very different approach to evangelism than even, like, Christianity in like medieval Europe would have, in the sense of, like, the way that they speak about divinity, right? Like, the way they speak about belief, the way they speak about faith in these things, where both, like, where characters have been very clear that, like, no, I need this to be true, right? I need there to be something more. I need there for something to exist that grants life meaning beyond just the mundanity of it, right? Like, beyond the mundanity of suffering, beyond the mundanity of and that's, like, because, like, unlike depictions of religion where people are just sort of zealots, or just sort of, well, it's because of it says in the Bible that it's true, or like, I believe it because it is the religion and you have to believe in the religion, that this is a thing of, like, people who seem to have done a bunch of soul searching about why they believe. Not just that they believe, not just that they've been raised to believe, not just that it is dogmatic in society that you must believe, but, like, that they have thought about, like, what do I need God for, right? Like, why do I need there to be a God? Why do I need there to be something divine, right? And I like that. Like, that's an interesting question to explore, because, like, that's an existential question, right? Like, that's something that touches on the philosophies of existentialism, and, like how do we deal with the absurdity of reality? I like that. Like, that's a complex way to engage with faith. More complex than a lot of media does, like, from both angles. Like, because if you've ever watched, like, fucking like that particular subgenre of, like, American evangelical movies, is like, oh, they don't there's no engagement with faith there. Like, they're like faith films, yeah, sure, yeah, there's no real engagement with faith in there. It's just, like, it's just reaffirmation that the faith is correct, right? That, yes, you are totally correct for believing all the things that you do, and don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about being challenged. Don't worry about doubt. Don't worry about, like, because all of it's correct. All of the things that you happen to believe in, don't worry about it. this is more interesting than that, right? That he seems to have a clear picture that, like, part of why he needs there to be a god is because he is so old and at this point so alone that if there isn't something there to greet him in the afterlife, something to remember him, right? Like something left behind which will know that he was there and which will know what he did with his life, then, like, meaning kind of falls out of the world. And, like, that's understandable. Like, that's something I can understand as an emotional need for faith, right? Like, where I have different answers to that problem. like a little bit of nihilism, a little bit of agnosticism, a little bit of hedonism, but, you know, that's an approach to faith like that where I can sort of understand and engage with the argument in a way that I kind of can't when it's like, well, because of there was prophecy in the book, and then the prophecy came true, so therefore the book's true. Which is like a little bit, it's not really, like, certainly with, I want to be careful because I'm not particularly anti-religion, although I can definitely come across that way. But I'm certainly anti-evangelical religion, of all, basically of all kinds. I'm anti, like, I'm against the kind of anti-intellectualism that certain kinds of religious faith are predicated upon. Let's put it like that. Anyway, just to say that's good, and also those backgrounds are beautiful. Now, this time for real, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it was the end of the episode. I could just have had this discussion over the ending theme instead. I could have done. Okay, well, yeah, sure, right. So again, I have to assume from the presence of this guy in the intro that he's gonna, like, come up again, and it's not gonna be a century until we meet him. Which is interesting, because, like, that's the other thing about him as a character design and him as, like, a character is, like, Stark immediately spots that this guy can fucking fight, right? Like, that this guy has power. He mentions that he has had glorious accomplishments in his life, right? Which makes me think, dude's gonna come back and, like, be a total badass, kick some ass. That'd be nice. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind having a little bit more time with him because he's, like, he's the only character we've really met in the show so far who can, like, stump Frieren on, like, by understanding her perspective on time and, like, being older than her, apparently. And sort of able to probe into parts of her past that aren't really available to Fern Stark. Huh. Are we gonna get to a Frieren defends the legacy of Himmel? That'd be interesting. Okay. Alrighty then. Fuck, I need to head to bed, don't I? I do. It's like 3 a.m. But I want to watch more. But I need to go to bed. But I want to watch more. But I need to go to bed. Choices. I'm gonna have to go to bed. I'm gonna have to be responsible. I have a guest coming over tomorrow. I need to clean the place. Fine, I'll be an adult. I just want to watch more Frieren. That's really the thing. Anyway, bye.